All right, welcome everyone to National Distance Learning Week with SUNY Online. I'm so glad that you could join us. I will be your moderator today, and we have a couple people from the EmTech team who will be helping out in the chat as well. So a couple housekeeping items, if you could please keep your mics muted as the session's being recorded. We certainly will allow for some Q&A at the end, and you can type questions in the chat since we have people who will be helping with that. We would love for you to introduce yourself. Let us know where you're tuning in from. You can type that right in the chat. And I'm so thrilled to introduce our speakers today. I always look forward to being joined by the EmTech team. We are joined by Robin Sullivan, who is a teaching and learning strategist with the University at Buffalo Libraries. She's also the director of the SUNY Exploring Emerging Technologies for Lifelong Learning and Success initiative. Cherie Van Putten is an instructional designer for the Center for Learning and Teaching at Binghamton University and EmTech's associate director. Nicole Simon is a professor in the math and computer science, information technology, engineering, physics, technology, physical science department at Nassau Community College. And Christine Mersheds is an associate professor of business at Nassau Community College. Christine is an EmTech fellow and a member of the leadership team. So thank you for joining us, everyone. I'll turn it over to you, Robin.
Great. Thank you very much, Erin. And thank you all for spending some of your day with us. We are going to talk about the Exploring Emerging Technologies for Lifelong Learning and Success project. It is sponsored through SUNY. And there's a really short URL that I am putting into the chat, and it's also on your screen to get to the project website. And I'm going to read it for the sake of the recording as well. It's SUNY, SUNY.edu/EMTECH. So SUNY.edu/EmTech. And I would also love it if, in addition, you're saying what campus you're from. Can I ask you all to reintroduce yourself one more time, and also let us know the discipline, or if you're an administrator, your special area of focus. It will help myself and my colleagues, Nicole and Chris, kind of gear our discussion towards your specific interests. So thank you for doing that for us. And so Erin did give a nice introduction about who we are. Just going to do another quick introduction. I'm a teaching and learning strategist. That's basically an instructional designer. I assist faculty and students through the UB libraries to integrate emerging technologies into teaching, learning, and research. Contact information is up on the screen. RRF@buffalo.edu. Feel free to reach out if anyone has any questions or comments afterwards. Nicole, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Nicole Simon from Nassau Community College. I am a STEM professor. I am also an instructional designer and EdTech specialist. I was also an EmTech fellow, and I'm part of the leadership team. I'll turn it over to Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris Marchese. I teach business administration management courses primarily. Again, I was an EmTech fellow. I took a sabbatical to work on EmTech and its taxonomy, so kind of the back end workings as well as what we do on the front end. I am very interested in and like to be involved in. And I don't think there's much else about me. I think it was covered by Erin. Thank you.
So the EmTech project was created through one of actually its initial trace can be found in the initial IITG grants that SUNY had offered, and the goal was for the chancellor to try to create systemness. So we had 64 different campuses all trying to do 64 different things. What EmTech did is we tried to gather partners from across the system, faculty, staff, and students to put this together. And the folks who you just heard from and Cherie, who's not able to make it here with us, are kind of the core team that continually try to keep the project updated and improved, continual improvement. So just to get it started, the basic idea behind the project is that there are so many choices out there. So many different tools and technologies that you can use. They have different purposes, different types of quality. how is somebody supposed to know what to choose? So through EmTech, it's an opportunity to learn for yourself how to make the best use of the tools that you have at your fingertips. And we basically talk about many of the freely available technology tools, tutorials, and resources that are now on the internet and in your pocket. You probably have quite a few different resources connected to your mobile devices. So to kind of put a summary statement together for EmTech, it's discovery learning to explore and reflect on innovative and creative uses of emerging technologies. We have a very short video trailer. It's 1 minute long. I'm not going to play it here, but if you wanted to share the idea, the project with your students or with colleagues, you can go to the EmTech homepage, and here's a little 1 minute video that explains what it's all about. And so the target audience, it was designed for faculty and students. The idea is that anybody throughout the SUNY system or throughout the world can participate. And in addition to meeting the needs of students and instructors, EmTech is available to anybody that has an interest to stay current regarding the tools that change constantly. Many people have participated in EmTech to enhance their career status and enhance their job skills, and also just to be an informed and capable digital citizen. It's very appropriate for both beginners and advanced people that have technology knowledge. And we'll talk about some of the ways we've tried to separate many of the resources so that if you're a complete newbie, you know where you can go to just for a short list of what's available, or if you're an advanced user, you can go in and dig to, some of the different tools that are constantly being added. A section that is growing all the time is our simulation section, where you can learn all about some of the DIY types of immersive technologies that are available. How you can take something like a piece of paper and make a little cube. This is called a merge cube, and then you can attach a 3D model of a heart or a building or whatever it is you desire, and have your students hold that object in the palm of their hand. Just one tiny example. And Nicole is going to kind of take it from here and give a little overview about the EmTech project.
Thank you. So there are two parts of the EmTech project. The first is the EmTech MOOC, and that is housed through Coursera, where you're building on various different components. There's about 4 modules, and hopefully we'll be adding a 5th, my sabbatical in the spring, to build on your discovery exercise skill set. Those modules will allow you to share artifacts and learning in the MOOC learning community, and more importantly, those discovery artifacts that you are building in each of the different modules will help you start building out your technology skill set, and then you can also build on it by creating a portfolio. So what are the modules that we're talking about? Well, they're the lifelong learning in the 4 C's of the 21st century skills: communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. Each of these modules are designed to teach you about those critical 4 C's of the 21st century learning, as well as lifelong learning. So we are all lifelong learners. Once you go through the MOOC, you're able to learn, do those discovery activities and exercises. And again, use that in conjunction with the second part of our project, which is the wiki, which houses all of our technology tools. So speaking of the wiki, EmTech Wiki is a socially curated wiki repository of both freely available and freemium tools and resources. It's about 2/3 resources and tech tools, and about 1/3 videos and tech tools, videos explaining what's going on in the field. They're used again in conjunction with those MOOC discovery exercises to build your technology skills. It's also an open website, and it's available as a freely standing resource on its own. So just to give you a blow up graphic of what our wiki contains. Well, first off, you can log in and you can always contribute to our wiki and rate the tool or add a tool or help us modify tools. Again, socially curated, so it's there to help build and crowdsource all the information. We can't possibly know all the technology tools out there, but we certainly invite everybody to help build on them. We'd love people to go in and rate the tools so that we know which are the most appropriate, which are the ones that are people using the most. And when things do change, we do need to know about that. You're also able to apply different filters to take a look at building those objectives. If you want to drill down a little bit more for each of the different activities, lifelong learning, communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking, you can do so. You can also filter it out by different categories. If you're really interested in gamification like myself, or simulations, or if you want to take a look at what you can use to have more enhanced blogs and wikis in your class, or audio filters, you're able to drill down to that area. This will help filter the wiki to show you the tagged, thanks courtesy of Chris Marchese, an enhanced tagging feature for taxonomy so that we can take a look at those different technology tools that you're able to build your skills and then hopefully build an e-portfolio at the end to showcase all of your learning.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nicole. So the MOOC and the wiki work together, and the MOOC is available through Coursera. The idea is that you go through and read, view, and participate with all the course materials. We try to integrate some of the different technology tools right within the modules to give you some examples of how they're used. And once you go through the content, you then are pointed back to the wiki to explore tools and resources that meet your specific needs and interests. So one of those filters was objectives. So you would determine if you're in the communication section, you would go back to the wiki and it would narrow down. We have 500 plus tools, tutorials, and resources in the wiki. It would automatically start narrowing down to the ones that are specific to communication. You would then say, well, my objective within communication is to, have people tell a story. You would be able to choose that objective from the filters and it will narrow down even further. You could say, I'm interested to learn more specifically about video or more specifically about how immersive tools are being used to tell a story. You can then narrow down. We ask you to then create an artifact. So you create something using the tools, a short video or a blog or infographic. You then build a portfolio, put that artifact into your portfolio and add a reflection, just a paragraph or two. What did you learn? How is this tool or resource useful for you? And there's also short scavenger hunt type of quizzes throughout the different modules. When you get through all of the sections, you then have a peer review process on the e-portfolios, and you can earn digital badges and a Coursera certificate. Why bother? Why should you go through this project at all? Or why should you ask your students to go through this project? What are the rewards? One of the rewards is at the end, you will have the basis of a personal e-portfolio. And that portfolio will be yours. You can continue to use it into eternity. Until that tool goes away, which is one of the concepts we try to have you understand. So you have a personal e-portfolio if you choose to build one. We have about 40 different free e-portfolio tools in the wiki that you can choose from. If your campus has an e-portfolio platform that's suggested, we always recommend that you use that system so that you do have the support at your fingertips. Since these are all freely available technology tools, and some are freemium, as Nicole mentioned. Digication used to be a tool that was offered at our campus, so we use Digication. It is no longer a free option, so there's tools like Google Sites and Merlot has a really great system for building portfolios. Those are options for you. If you are, anybody can participate in the entire course for free, anybody across the world. There are certain people that have advantages. Anybody affiliated with SUNY is one of those people. And you can register and also earn a Coursera certificate of completion and SUNY digital badges at no cost. Many other campuses have agreements with Coursera that would also allow them to earn that free certificate of completion. New York State has also implemented anybody in the state who is underemployed or unemployed can also get a Coursera account through the New York State Department of Labor, and they can also participate for free and earn those extra advantages, the certificate of completion and digital badges. Anybody else, there is a small charge to get those, but they can still just take a photograph of the screen that says I completed the MOOC, and they have the evidence. The badge is kind of unique that if you share it on LinkedIn, somebody can click on your digital badge to say, here's the portfolio that was created in EmTech, and here is the criteria that was met, and it was issued through the SUNY system. So just want to share kind of an analogy. Even though the system has a lot of resources in there, many people maybe at first might feel a little overwhelmed. We don't promote the idea of using technology just for the sake of it. You have to determine what is your objective, why are you bothering to find a technology tool in the first place? And somebody shared this analogy at a recent workshop that we had given, and I just wanted to share it back. You don't go into a hardware store and say, let's see, look at all these, hammers and screwdrivers and tape. Which one of these am I going to pick to use? You go in there with a purpose and say, well, okay, I'm going to make a birdhouse. What do I need? I need hammers, I need nails, I need wood, and I need this. That should be the same approach that you use with your technology choices. What is your objective? What are you trying to do in the end? Then try to figure out what are the tools and which tools are most appropriate for your needs. So this is where I'm going to turn it over to Chris to talk just a little bit about the impact that EmTech has had. And I'm going to click on this link that will bring you to the EmTech website that has some of the past results.
So one of the more amazing things that has happened to me through my involvement with EmTech was that I was fortunate enough to be on sabbatical when the pandemic hit. And it's fortunate because the data explosion was incredible to see. Everybody always asks, oh, but is this a scalable project? It scaled itself. We just watched day by day during, the initial stages of quarantine around the world, how it kind of spread around the globe. And we went, bigger and bigger and bigger, with individuals enrolling for all different reasons. I mean, we're all here primarily for educational reasons, but we also had different types of professionals, people who are employed, unemployed coming in. So we've had so far a total of 3,598 badges issued, which I think is fabulous. There's a high acceptance rate, the share rate, and the views per share. So 85% are shared via LinkedIn, 15% on Facebook, Twitter, and other. LinkedIn is most popular because that's kind of our social media platform for professionals. So the numbers make sense. Do we have the map? I'm sorry, Robin, could you scroll?
Yep, I'm sorry. I am.
That is okay. You know what, I have it on my other.
All at the same time.
So we have over 32,500 learners globally. And you can see here we have the SUNY emblem, where it is, it's large in our system. And then it is kind of throughout North America. We have touched South America. We are in Europe, Africa. It's really wonderful. It's over 150 countries that we have been able to have this, have the MOOC deployed into and to find users in. The participant breakdown. Oh, for the participant breakdown, I actually need my glasses. Didn't have them on, just realized it. So thank you so much, Rob. 18% are students. Nicole and I both have used different elements of the MOOC and modules to have our students begin engaging in the MOOC during our regular course semesters. 25% are like us, instructors. Currently not employed, 20% of our users so far. Employed outside academia, in academia, but not necessarily an instructor, 26%, which really speaks to the flexibility of the content and the tools. The extent to which participating did it help you gain strategies to enhance lifelong learning habits? Overwhelmingly, it has. 75%, quite a bit, very much. Enhancing your ability to use emerging technologies. 3/4 of our users said absolutely, quite a bit, very much. Positively influence your feelings and comfort level with these technologies. Again, 3/4 of the participants, quite a bit and very much. And would you recommend this course to friends and colleagues? That is an overwhelming yes at 89% that they would recommend it. So the participants' intention to continue using EmTech Wiki after their formal participation ends, quite a bit, very much. Most users or participants do see themselves using the wiki. An overwhelming majority of them do. I know that from the first time I've used it, it's been continual use for years now. So to what extent did receiving digital badges add value to your experience? It has greatly added value, as well as the certificate. For some of us in the system, these are materials we can use for promotion purposes as we move through the ranks in our system as well. So besides, as Robin said, besides the wonderful intrinsic values of being a lifelong learner, we do also have something to show for it besides our new skill set.
Great, thank you very much. Dave, you asked a question a little earlier in the chat, and I'm going to just repeat it a little bit for the sake of the recording. You were asking, how do the students engage? Do they evaluate the tools, evaluate the wiki? Do they contribute? So I guess I want to kind of answer that in 2 stages. The participants in the MOOC, who are the students of the MOOC, they interact with the tools and the resources and explore them and then reflect upon them and put an example in their portfolio. But we do have, and possibly your students would be a prime candidate to assist us to evaluate the resources. We've had a student intern through the SUNY COIL system who has been helping us to improve. One of the things he's done is to help us redesign the website. So Dave, you also teach students about website design. If we now have the design, now we need to implement it. So please reach out. That's one thing that we're doing to improve. But another thing that we're doing is we are trying to improve the wiki taxonomy, and that's an area that Chris has been very instrumental. But we have had students who we are slowly, I think we have about 50 of the 500 resources evaluated as far as, are they accessible? Are they, do they value privacy and security? And we are also working closely with COIL to determine, are the tools available across the world, or are there certain areas that certain tools are restricted? So those are some of the things that we are trying to do. We have a programmer who's trying to continually develop the open source code that's available to be captured by anybody to use and improve. But we are trying to add special interest groups so that an instructor could go in and say, I'm an instructor. And then in addition to all of the generic tools and resources, many of them are kind of instructor focused, but everybody has tons of materials about just teaching pedagogical resources. How do you create a rubric? Right now, we're kind of shying away from including that, but we'd love to have the ability for somebody to say, I'm an instructor, and be able to add a whole new set of additional resources to the wiki. We had a recent grant for K-12 through the NEA. So we also want to make a K-12 specific designation so that the resources on the wiki can be tailored just by saying who you are. And then, yes, Dave, question.
So in New York State, they have that like wonky 2D rule. Is that part of this process?
Yes, we are. It's really hard because, yeah, you said wonky. Good description. So for those who may not know, New York State has the At Nicole, please, you're better at this part than me. Explain.
New York State K-12 has something called the 2D Ed Law, which addresses accessibility, security, and privacy for minors in the K-12 system. California, I agree, yes, California has something very similar as well. They do not call it, obviously, the New York State 2D Ed Law, but because of that, the New York State Department of Ed and our legislation has decided that rather than come out with a universal policy, which would make a lot more sense, they're letting individual BOCES centers, regional BOCES centers, and individual districts decide for themselves what works best. Because of this, it's very difficult to walk into one district and say, this is fantastic, you can use this technology tool, and the next district, the next neighborhood over says, no, we don't want to subscribe to that. So every single district BOCES and regional BOCES center must have all of that information readily available, whether it's accessible right on their website, or any constituent can walk in and say, we need to see this before we allow this technology tool. What I've been doing is going through over the past year or two and taking a look at every bit of data I can get for all the regional BOCES, the local BOCES, and all of the K-12 districts throughout New York State, and compiling an entire database and cross-referencing to see which of those technology tools have the most hits, to say, okay, universally across the state, everybody agrees this technology tool is now K-12 Ed Law compliant. Eventually I'll get to California, but I thought New York State was a little bit more important for us right now, being SUNY.
Thank you. That's awesome. I really, I look forward to kind of like a universal solution in the future.
So if you see a tag for K-12 specific, it will be for New York State, and then eventually we'll get to California, but we'll have that on our website.
Cool. Thank you.
And
Great
Dave,
work.
we have had classes of, we have had faculty who have adopted the MOOC either whole or in part and assigned it to their students. Some have assigned it as a required activity, some as extra credit. And, you know, asking your students to help us evaluate the tools. We would love to have them do that. And please reach out. We can talk further. You know, the instructor would have the kind of a back end access, and you'd also just be able to collect the digital badges if you had your students do the whole MOOC. But we, on the EmTech webpage under the impact section, you can also find a video recording of faculty who have implemented the project with their students in various ways. So
Cool. Thanks. I think I'm curious, like if anyone has done like a 1 week session for their students. So most of my classes are online for this particular class, and I'd love to give them exposure to this, but I don't really know like what's the scope of a project that could be 1 week long. So you don't have to answer that now, and we can talk offline about that, Rob, but I appreciate that.
okay, and actually, I think I do want to address it just for the sake. This is National Distance Learning Week, so hopefully people will check out the recordings. So we have had faculty that have adopted just a single module. The entire course can take just 4 hours to complete. And so the one faculty who did the first module, she was teaching a communication in the communication department. So she adopted module 2. The next semester, she also adopted module 1 because she, module 1 talks about how to prepare your mindset as a growth mindset learner. Just because you don't know something now does not mean that you can't learn it. There's also some basic concepts such as Creative Commons and what is OER and what is, how to keep your digital footprint private. So she did decide that she wanted to do that first kind of first module and the second module. So you can do it in as little as you want. You can, use the videos on the site. We have a big collection to introduce the project. There's the 1 minute video. There's, different lengths. So it's totally adaptable and can be done. So thank you for that question.
Yeah, thank you for the answers.
I followed that exact same pattern. I started one semester with just adopting the second module, just did one module with them. And then to me, it felt more complete if I took a step back and included the introductions in the first module. And so now that is the project for my students. They do modules 1 and 2. And this is an undergraduate management class. but I feel that these are skills that they need when they leave me. So, and the other thing I've done is tools that I found in there, I've converted other projects just to have the students use and evaluate the tool, not necessarily do the MOOC component. So I've done it both ways. Like we do infographics now in my HR class for labor law reports, because it's much easier to see the information broken out that way. So I just do like even just that small of a piece.
That's also good feedback. Thank you.
And I just want to kind of give a little bit of words of wisdom. Hopefully you guys are all trying to think of other questions to ask us so we can kind of open up into a dialogue. But please make sure that no matter what technology tools you wish to adopt, make sure to connect with your campus and your institutional support. Keep them in the loop about your progress, and many will help you understand whether or not a tool is accessible. Some campuses are more restrictive than others, but also if you have an enterprise supported tool on your campus, use that as your first choice. But so for example, if you happen to have an Adobe license that's available to your students, use those tools that are supported, that they can go to the help desk. They can't use one of the free tools like Canva to create an image for their slides and expect the help desk to help them. But you always need to have plan A, B, and C when it comes to technology. And when plan A, kind of goes away for a temporary or a semi-permanent position, you need to have other tools at your disposal. And technology is just a big part of our everyday lives. You need to be able to make decisions about what is appropriate and what is not appropriate, but always have a close connection with your campus support folks, and keep them in the loop about what you're doing. So I just wanted to. So this is the URL for the website again, suny.edu/EmTech. You can commit that to memory. And on the EmTech website, under the first menu, you will find many different tools that you can use to share with faculty, fellow faculty at your campus. Chris, can you talk a little bit about the cohort model?
Oh, that's my favorite thing. So just like we need buy-in from our students, we need buy-in from our faculty and staff. Here at Nassau Community College, Nicole and I both went through a cohort model where we had somebody leading us to have us all log in and register at a particular point in time, and we would meet either weekly or bi-weekly on campus in a lab, and we would go over what we did in our module that week. We would look at each other's postings within the MOOC, and definitely peer support and peer review was present, but there was something about having the live connections with each other on campus that really worked out well. We were all completers. We all went all the way through and did every module, and all had our e-portfolios built and had something very tangible to walk away with, as well as the feedback in learning about what everybody used in the past week, because we all did something slightly different. And it's a good collaboration model. Like it was wonderful collaborative learning and reflection, but also it made it a very successful program and project on our campus because we had these cohorts going through, I don't remember, was it every semester or every other semester, but having the peer group doing it at the same time kept us all that much more engaged.
And so thank you. We also ran a couple cohorts through my university, and even just in the School of Nursing, a few faculty would meet in the lunchroom with their laptops, and they would go through some of the content and some of the modules, and they would just play with the tools. And some of the research that we've done some qualitative research on the posts and the summary posts, and people certainly commented about the way they learn best is just by hearing what others are learning about and what others are doing. And so, even just in the MOOC discussion forum, somebody will say, oh yeah, I used Canva and here's what I created. Somebody else will say, oh yeah, that's cool. And then other people would gravitate towards, let's see what that Canva tool has to offer. But so on the EmTech website, there's all kinds of information. We have flyers you can print and put around your campus. These little business cards can be printed on any printer. Announcements you can copy and paste in the videos as well. But this is the last slide that we have here, and hopefully can open up for discussion. EmTech needs your help. We need you to help share information about the project through your social media networks and through your campuses. We need help to have you contribute tools and resources. There are so many valuable tutorials out there, different tools that are coming out every day. Please go to the site and contribute. And if that's all you do, you can still earn a digital badge, whether or not you're connected to SUNY or not. We also encourage anybody who completes the MOOC to become an EmTech fellow. Fellows have, just a way to interact with us and to be a mentor to other participants. We ask that you support and comment on, just one person in each of the modules, and then we'll grant you the title of being an EmTech fellow. We also would love to have some scholarly researchers. So we've been collecting data on this project for about 10 years. That in itself says a lot about a project that is driven by technology, by emerging technologies. So we have data that's been collected through pre and post surveys, through the qualitative posts, through the analytics on the website. And probably the biggest help we need some grant writers. The project was funded through SUNY grants, UB grants, and other entities. We now need to continue to sustain this model and continue to improve it. So I will make sure to share a link to the slides with Erin, or just on the first menu on the website, there is a link to our call for partnerships. Please read that and reach out to us. We would love to have your help. And Rachel, I'm sorry, at the very beginning, I didn't mention Rachel is another one of our fellows on the call. We really appreciate the assistance that everybody has added to this project, and it keeps getting better with more people who participate. So we have a few minutes left. Would love to hear your comments, questions. I'm going to stop sharing now so that we can hopefully answer some of your questions or figure out how you might use this in your own disciplines. And Rachel, if you might want to comment as well about your experiences. And Dave, did you have a question there?
I'm just having trouble logging into it. Do we have a single sign-on with Coursera or not?
With Coursera, we do not.
Okay.
It's not a single sign, and you do have to create an account. In the EmTech website, we recommend, and I'm sure you are very familiar with this, do not use your institutional password to log into any third-party tool. So you could use your campus email, but do not use the password. That should never be used on anything else. So once you create an account on Coursera, you can enroll into SUNY EmTech and have the free certificate.
Yeah, this is Rachel. I just was going to say I really enjoyed working with you all, and then just meeting other people, seeing what other people are doing.
Thank you. And Rachel, which tools or which skills maybe have you kind of kept over the years and used?
What I was introduced somewhere along the line, somewhere in this was the multimedia learning and Mayor's principles of multimedia design, and it's really impacted me. That was primarily kind of the multimedia and presentations.
Great, thanks. And the video section, I think, is the most visited section of the site. And that's something that many campuses, I think maybe a big complaint from IT is that, well, how can we have people use these third-party tools? Like, well, many campuses don't have a video editing tool available for their faculty to use. So by being able to have resources to create an animation, to demonstrate a process, that's something very valuable to be able to share as part of your teaching resources.
Yeah, I think that with Brightspace, we have a little more stuff, but we don't want to probably create really long videos in Brightspace. But I'm going to be talking about that on Thursday, leaving video feedback
Great.
on student work. But that whole area, and just going back and redoing, being part of it again, you just learn new skills.
Mhm. And anybody else have any comments? Karen, Lisa, Loy, love to hear any questions that you might have, or things that you use right now in your classes that you find valuable to help you with creating content or communicating.
Robin, I just unmuted so that I could just contribute this one thing. I from time to time I do still adjunct, but I have used the wiki myself to find tools for things that I do professionally. And most recent example would be, I've heard of different tools for infographics like, Canva and so forth, but I wanted to kind of see what else was out there. And the really nice thing is the rating, because you can kind of get a sense of what people prefer. Not that that means that would be your preference also, but it's nice to kind of see how people evaluated the tools. So I tend to, come back to the wiki now and then, even now, just to find other EdTech tools that I can use for my own work.
Yeah, that rating system is valuable. I think we did not have, right now we're reevaluating. Our student intern has also helped us redesign the interface for the rating system, and that still needs to be implemented. So people don't see those little up and down arrows as much as we would like them to see. So that valuable crowdsourcing of, which are the tools that people prefer is something that we hope to even make more important as the time goes by, as we're able to implement that. And Dave, again, your students in your different courses or yourself would be very helpful in that regard. So we are at time. I know you want to kind of keep them short so that you can take a breather between Zoom calls, which happens to be, the theme of today's world. So thank you, Erin, for the opportunity to share EmTech with the SUNY and the larger community.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for contributing. I just appreciate the whole EmTech team who could be here today for sharing this resource, and your expertise and your suggestions. It's great. And to all the participants too, for your attendance and attention. We do make all the slides available for this week for all of our sessions on our website. And I also want to encourage you to explore the USDLA website. They sponsor National Distance Learning Week, and they have events going on all around. It's a really great dynamic week. So if you have some extra time, there are sessions even in the evening. Not that you'd want to spend that much time on Zoom, but there are options if you're interested. We do have one more session starting at 2, so I'm going to leave this Zoom room open, and I'll hang out here. And if you are sticking around, great. If not, we hope to see you in another session this week. So take care.
Okay, bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.